Hey there, welcome back to Podcast for Your Life. And it is 2019 and we are ready to go with some new episodes for you guys.
New year, but same podcast. So not
New year, same you.
yes,
Same us.
same us.
Same you two?
We're all the same.
Yep. But today we have a new episode and we are going to be talking about diets.
Diets.
Dieting for your life.
Yes.
Diets for your life? Not diet soda, because we actually have no experience with either of those things.
I mean, other than just like in that situation, it's a modifier for soda, meaning like slightly less good.
Yeah, diet soda for your life. It's slightly less good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Check that off. Okay, moving on to our next topic, diets.
So, Jason, what are diets?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think diets are like eating habits. Like at its simplest form, I think it's eating habits. And a lot of times it's like, it's almost like this little world. Like within this world, these are the foods you can eat.
Yes.
That's kind of how it feels like sometimes with diets.
Yeah, I think it's just like what you eat. Like diets are what you eat. We have used the word a lot of times, like, oh, I'm on a diet, meaning, you know, I have a very restricted plan. But I think it really does just mean like people will say, oh, you should incorporate more vegetables into your diet.
Yeah.
I think it really just ends up meaning this is what I eat, whether you're doing it on purpose or not. We all have a diet.
Right.
But traditionally what we really mean is like actually having a more, I guess, on purpose approach to what you're eating. When people say I'm on a diet, it usually means that they've decided some sort of criteria. Is that how you would interpret it?
Yeah, what you eat, I think that's a good one. And I also think it is true, like we're all on diets. Even people who aren't like abstaining from specific foods or food groups, they're on diets too. Because they don't just compare people who are doing, you know, vegan diets to vegetarians to people on, you know, like Whole30 or whatever. They also compare like different countries, like the diet of Ethiopia and people is this, and compared to the diet of Brazilian people, you know. So I think there's a lot of places we could go, but I think today we'll probably just talk about like specific habits when it comes to specific maybe limitations or whatever.
Yeah, we know where you clicked. When you saw the word diets, you thought it's going to be diets, dieting, limiting what you eat, all that stuff. So we're going to give you what you want.
Yeah.
So usually we ask, you know, what is it? And then we ask kind of like why. So why are diets?
Why are diets? I think when it comes to, if we're talking about specific, like I said, like worlds, like we'll just use some of the common examples in our culture.
Yeah.
Like vegan diet. I think it comes down to, I think allergies are a lot of what goes into what foods people eat nowadays.
So
I think that's a big one.
Yeah, something you can't eat because it'll harm you in some way.
Yeah, like it could be like I'm on a peanut-free diet because of allergies, or it could be I can't have dairy or soy or gluten. So the gluten-free diet, obviously, you know. So I think that allergies to specific food groups come into play. But I also think just choices. There's a lot of people who just make choices about their diet based off of what they've read, maybe some research they've done. So there's been kind of a trend in the past, 50 years or so of eliminating specific food groups from your diet so that you can live healthier, feel better. So.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's like some people, the choice is made for them because of some sort of medical, you know, issue like allergies or something like that. But I think for the most part, when you hear people use the word, many times it is like they're choosing some sort of limited diet for some reason. They're trying to eat more of this or less of this for a health goal that they have.
Yeah, because most people, like I have a friend who's really allergic to peanuts, and he's not like coming around like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm on a peanut-free diet. So most of those allergies people, I would say. But I have found some folks who do have certain allergies say, oh, well, this diet, insert popular name of diet here, really works for me because it doesn't have blah, blah, or blah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like those two overlap sometimes.
So to zoom way out, we are humans. Humans are one of many species on the planet.
It's true.
We have to eat food and drink water, like a lot of other species as well, mostly mammals. And over time, we have discovered that some foods are better for us than others. And what's weird too is that the more and more readily available food has become, the more and more it's been important for us to take choosing what we eat on our own.
It's true.
Whereas like at some point, back in the day, you probably had very few options, like what you could eat. Now, it's like we've learned the lesson of too much of a good thing at this point, over and over.
Well, even now, there are places in the world that you can go that your diet is not based off of what you want or what you can have. It's based off of literally like what's available to you.
Yeah.
A lot of times. So it's definitely like, it depends on where you live in the world for sure. Like if you live in a developed country, there's a really good chance that you can choose from anything. You can have the limitations of doing that. Versus, I live in the middle of nowhere and I have to live off the land, which is like deer and, rabbits and field greens,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it depends.
I was thinking mostly of the U.S., but you're right. Yeah. It's like, there's tons of statistics. We don't have to go into that at all. And I don't even know them, so it's not worth it. But just the fact that the U.S., we typically do have really, really good access to more food than we could ever need, including foods that aren't good for us in large quantities. So it's like,
Oreos.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned something earlier talking about humans compared to animals, and I guess we need to determine humans are omnivores, right? Because they eat both plants and meat, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that interesting to think if humans somewhere along the way became just one or the other, like herbivores or carnivores?
Yeah.
Or carnivores meaning they eat meat and herbivores eating just plants.
Yeah.
That'd be fascinating.
Yeah. What'd be funny is if someone, we obviously have the terms like vegetarian and vegan. What if someone said, like, I'm an herbivore? Like,
it would be better.
Yeah. It'd be kind of funny. It sounds like they're like a type of dinosaur. Because I remember those words. I remember learning those words, like, only related to dinosaurs. Oh, this dinosaur was a carnivore. This one was a herbivore. And some were omnivores. Right. But most of them were either or.
It was all about the Brachiosaurus, man, because it wouldn't eat you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
But who knows if the trees, got blown up in some sort of volcanic eruption, maybe they would start chewing on humans.
And they could also easily accidentally kill you. They're so big.
They could, yeah.
So you weren't safe.
Yeah, basically you weren't safe.
Either way.
So sad. Oh, man. I think it's fascinating.
Do you have any experiences doing diets?
I do, yeah. For most of my life, I have just been whatever's, served to me at a restaurant, or not served to me at home, or other people's houses, or just like whatever I'm in the mood for, whatever mom's cooking tonight. I haven't had any dietary restrictions. When I was, 4 years ago, I had a temporary diet that I had to go on for some health issues. Nothing severe, but I went on the Candida diet. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. But,
I have not, actually.
If you're listening and you've heard of the Candida diet, or if you've done it yourself, props to you, because it was really hard. It was like a 40-day cleanse sort of a deal where you couldn't have anything with yeast in it specifically.
Yeah.
And yeast is in almost everything. It's
like, even on accident.
Even on accident, it's like, wait, soup has yeast in it? Like, how are they? So it was very tough, very limiting. You couldn't have anything that was fermented, which is also a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was tough, but I think the diet was relatively successful. I got rid of some health issues that were going on, but I think for me, I learned, I just grew in my respect for people who are on restricted, limited diets, because a lot of times it doesn't feel like it's so much a discipline, especially if it's like an allergic or you have some sort of side effect. A lot of times it's like, I just can't have that, and I'm bummed out that I can't have that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that food is a huge deal for me, of the like, oh, I can't have something, but I do enjoy food, and so not being able to have something was like this mental struggle in addition to the physical. I'm hungry, like nothing that I'm eating is filling, and so
it's more than food to us, really. I mean, it's more than just sustenance in a lot of ways, because we're so relational. So a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm eating food with people. Yep. So being left out of that for some reason is horrible. Like Thanksgiving, we have a lot of traditions we have are centered around food, or even just the fact that we are creative beings in many ways, and so the idea of eating this specific dish that's unusual, or this specific thing that you really like, it's way more than just for trying to sustain our bodies. And so that's what makes it so hard. It's like hard to separate, okay, I want this, but really I need this. And food, man, it's tough.
It is tough, yeah.
I've also only just recently had my first ever situation like that. Like I starting in October, at the end of October, I started keeping a food diary.
Nice.
So counting calories and having to stay below a calorie threshold every day. And that has been very challenging. It's also super enlightening because seriously, in all of my years, I'd never even thought about the amount of calories that were in certain things. I had just always eaten whatever, was in front of me or whatever I had access to, whatever I wanted, what I was craving. And so that's been a huge change for me, but I've really liked it. And I did it as part of a sort of competition thing with some friends where we were trying to be healthier. And recently I talked to a dietitian, a friend of mine, and it's so funny because he's a dietitian, which I guess just means like nutrition science related, helping people with advice on diets. And he said that most diets don't work. And he doesn't mean like they don't have short-term results, but what he means is that anything that you can really only do short-term, so some diets like you can't do forever, like I can't think of many because I don't know of many, but like keto and a few others like that.
You can do that.
You can't do it forever. Not even just that, like you won't die, but there's a lot of times just limitations that people just won't do it forever because it's really hard to sustain.
Well, doesn't it come down to nutrients as well? Like I've heard with vegetarians or vegans, they have a hard time getting B10 in their diet, and that's like a vital supplement.
Yeah. And so he didn't make it like a rule, but he's like, basically most diets don't work, but simple habits that you can actually take on that you could do forever, that's the best way to do it. So that's he's like, cool. In the US especially, we love doing like there's different diets at certain times that'll become different fads. Like I remember there being some different ones back when I was like a kid that my mom would do or whatever. And so
Atkins.
Yeah, Atkins. And things like that some of those have like almost completely faded away. And
because it came out of the Atkins really bad for you.
Right. And so that's what he's saying is like, we don't know what the impact it has, but there are tried and true things that if you can do this sustainably, like he's like one, keeping a food diary is like the absolute best discipline because then you're just counting calories and staying below that. Yeah. Even though it doesn't ensure that you're healthier, it starts getting you in the know about what you're eating and building that good habit. And then if you say, oh, I want to eat more vegetables in general, then you can start doing that. But it was really eye-opening, and it's funny because he's a dietitian, and yet he says, most of the kind of extreme diets just don't work.
He's kind of like, he's a little cynical, like, I've been in this war too long. Yeah. The war against.
Yeah. He's really cool, and he's encouraging, so but it kind of sounds like he wasn't, but
wow.
To me that was eye-opening because it's like the simple habits that we can form are what make a bigger impact long-term, so.
Realistic. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what's the consensus on diets?
Man, that's tough. I mean, if you define it the way that dietitian defines it, then I'm pretty skeptical. But if you define it like it's what you eat and doing that in a purposeful way, then I think it's like great. And I would not have said that, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. So I would have just poked fun at them and had a lot of jokes and stuff. So,
dude, it's crazy. Your third eye's been open. But you've also lost weight.
What if it's true.
You've worked out and you've lost weight.
Yeah, I've lost this
isn't a promo for whatever diet you're on, but you're seeing the results, which I think is pretty cool.
And I'm just doing calorie counting. So.
And Jam wasn't obese. Like he wasn't, 1,000,000 pounds. He was relatively,
Yeah. I was reaching that mid to late 20s slump where your metabolism slows and all the junk you've eaten catches up with you. So
can't eat a sleeve of Oreos anymore. It's sad.
So what's your take? Diets. What do you think?
Yeah, I think diets. If you do the research and you do something that works for you and is healthy, then I think go for it.
Diets. They're not just for moms anymore.
I feel like going on a rant about what is diet? What does the word even come from? Because it has the word die in it.
It does. It is pretty weird. And then when you say it, it just sounds like die it. Like it is dying or I am dying because of it.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up for today. Thanks for listening. And we hope that if you're on a diet this year, that it goes really well for you. We'll raise our glass of kale juice to you, and we will see you next time.
All right. Cheers.